Okay. With that, Amanda, could you play our recording for public comment, please?
The purpose of the public comment period is to give the audience an opportunity to provide comments to commissioners regarding agenda items or other topics. It is an official on-the-record communication geared toward giving information and opinions to consider in the decision-making process. While the commissioners welcome hearing from you, please note that the public comment period is not an opportunity for dialogue with commissioners or for posing questions with the expectation of an immediate answer. Many questions require an opportunity for information gathering and deliberation. For this reason, the commissioners will accept comments, but will not directly respond to comments, questions, or concerns raised during the public comment period. Audience members who wish to speak should raise your hand to be called upon by the chairman, or virtual participants use the raise hand feature. Come to the podium, or virtual participants unmute your microphone when called upon. State your name and address for the record. And after speaking, write your name and address on the record sheet. Virtual participants do not complete this step. To allow every participant an opportunity to be heard, public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The chairman will indicate when your allowed time has elapsed. In the interest of running an orderly meeting, we ask that you do not duplicate comments made by a previous speaker. Instead, please simply confirm your agreement with previous statements. When appropriate, the commissioners may refer an item identified during public comments to the county administrator for further action. Please note that if a speaker intends to give commissioners any records of any kind as a part of a presentation, the records must be handed directly to the clerk of the board for distribution.
Thank you. Mr. Atkins, you want to?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Jim Atkins, Prosser, Washington. I have several things this morning, looking at the agenda. One, I see the commissioner's salary is up there, and my only question about that is, okay, what are the parameters of how many hours a week you have to work? And then, you know, is there a way that's monitored? The only reason I ask that is, is how do we know the public how many hours a week you're working? I'm not saying you have to work 80 hours a week or 70 or 60, but I know when I worked, I was always 60 hours a week or more. So, and then the next question, do you have to pay anything for your health insurance, or does the county pay it 100%?
100%. All county employees, 100%.
All county employees. Okay, thank you. And then on the juvenile justice contract, it says contracts. Why is this going to be backdated to October 1st? I brought that up before. Why are these contracts backdated? So is somebody not on the job, or somebody, I realize there's issues, but you should have a work plan to see what's coming up and to work on it months ahead of time. And then procurement, it says the second contract procurement, that's G down there. You look at the second contract amendment, it doesn't show additional work scope. It says work scope was added, and they added approximately $20,000 to the job, but it doesn't say what additional work scope was added. And then we go to procurement H, and it says vehicle 4228 to be replaced, and procurement I replace 4234 vehicle. Well, on procurement H, you're replacing that with a Ford Escape, I believe. And then the next one, procurement I, you're replacing that with a police interceptor. That's 4234. But when he fills this out, he should tell you 4228 is this type of vehicle. 4234 is this type of vehicle. Not just say what you're replacing. You need to know what you're, am I replacing, a police interceptor? You know, how do you know? By the number, you know, and the public should know. Okay, if it's like for like, that's fine. But, you know, you need to be more clear. What's the deadline for having these, um, what,
Finish up.
what's the deadline for having these items in for your agenda? Is that on Friday, Wednesday? Just trying to get the idea
I think
for,
it's Thursday,
and
Thursday before.
thank you. And thank you.
So we'll get you some we'll get you some answers to those.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help improve
Sure,
the outlook of what we see here, not just complaining.
sure.
You know, take it to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here in Prosser? Doesn't look like anyone in Kennewick. Are you online?
Yeah, I
Any
don't,
hands raised?
give me 1 second. Yeah, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, okay, with that, close public comment and we'll move on to the consent agenda, items A through M.
I'll make a motion. Give me 1 second here.
Make a motion to go ahead and approve the consent agenda items A through M as in Michael.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, the motion passes. Look at this stuff coming up on my. Stuff popping up on my computer here. What exercise? Okay. Public hearing, budget adjustments. Do we want to take these all individually or have one open it up for public hearing on all at once? Or what do you
Let me
prefer?
tell about them,
Okay.
and then we have to pass them one by
Yeah.
one.
Right, we have to
Yeah.
pass them one by one.
Because they
Let's
have
just,
the-
let's what you
Right.
talk about.
They got
and we'll
individual
So I
open up.
have my little spiel you have to listen to, okay?
Okay, and then we'll open up for public hearing after you finish, and
Okay.
then we'll vote on them individually.
So a bit of information for the public as we go through the next process. Benton County passed the biennial budget for 2025, 2026 in November of last year, 2024. The budget policies allow for mid-biennium review, or what we call supplements, which are basically an increase to the original passed budget. The process follows the same main steps as the original budget process. The commissioners recommend or approve the budget to proceed to public hearing. We do a notice of public hearing and the public hearing and adoption. And that's the step we're at today. We're at the public hearing and adoption. We have 6 budget adjustments or supplements. We did request to go to public hearing on October 7th, and the budget adjustments were posted on the county website and were advertised in the Prosser Record Bulletin as required 2 times. We typically pass them one by one in the public hearing, but I generally give a brief description of all of them all at once, and then we go and pass them one by one because you have the option of not passing one of them. Okay. So the first one is the general fund, Fund 0010 for $10 million. And per the budget policy, after maintaining a minimum fund balance, any cash carry forward may be transferred to designated funds such as park development, capital projects, fairgrounds, and sustainable development. We are requesting all 10 million be transferred to the capital projects fund. Any questions on that one so far?
Nope.
Sustainable Development Fund, Fund 1350 for $1,080,000. The Community Development Block Grant for the Sundance Improvement Project in Finley received an additional funding, and Benton County is the pass-through agency. And Adam File presented on that a couple weeks ago. The third one is the Trial Court Improvement Fund, Fund 1560 for $373,122. And during the budget process, the fund administrator budgeted the new fund revenues, but overlooked budgeting any of the fund balance. And this fund is shared by Superior Court, Clerk, and District Court, and they would like to expend a portion of their fund balance, or at least have the option to. Central Services Fund, Fund 5020 for $561,634. And during the budget process, we approved the new budget requests, but overlooked passing it in the individual Central Services Fund itself. Crime victim, the fifth one, crime victims comp fund, Fund 1200 for $175,649. And the stop grant in the prosecutor's office was reduced mid-2025, which is in the general fund. And the request is to appropriate budget in the for the unfunded grant balance. So they want to pay it out of the crime victims fund. And this is primarily for a position, and this is what was presented this spring as we work through that problem. And the behavioral health fund, Fund 1600 for $29,110,000. And this is for grants that were not included in the original 2025-2026 budget. And with that, unless you have
And
any
that-
questions,
yeah,
I'm ready for public hearing.
I do, Linda. The last amount there, 20 million, those are grants that have come in for the recovery center. Right?
Right, so when we did the budget, we budgeted all the new revenue for the tax, but we didn't add in any of the
The grant.
actual
Grants.
grants that he was getting at the time.
Right. And then the crime victim fund, how much is left in that fund? Do you know? I mean, because that's been dwindling, right? Because
Well, I think there's 500,000
oh,
left.
still,
Mhm.
oh, okay, because that
Don't
doesn't,
hold me to that exact
Okay.
amount,
but
but,
it doesn't get the funding that it used to because the court doesn't assess those.
right. But
So-
when they decided to pay for this position that
right.
we talked about this spring out of the fund to fund the unfunded grant balance, they felt that the 175,000 would be fine.
Okay, and then also that stop grant, that's the one that the state stopped, the grant ran out at the state and we've been carrying that, but now we learned Franklin County doesn't want to pay their,
Correct.
so
Mhm.
we have to change that MOU
Right,
with them.
so rather than paying for it out of the general fund dollars, they want to pay it out of their special fund, the crime victims fund, so they can maintain the position.
Has Franklin County paid their bill yet on the recovery center? Off top, no? I'm
No.
getting head shaking, no, okay. There was one, which one? So the cash forward, that's money that's in accounts that haven't been spent halfway through the budget, right? And so
Right,
we
so-
always typically do that, we sweep and then put it in the capital budget.
Right, so the
And-
budget policies say that any unexpended cash balance, we have to keep a minimum of 10% up to 14%, that we can, at the end of a year, sweep it over to these other
Other
funds.
right?
We didn't do it last year. We can do it each year. We
Right.
didn't do it last year because we were a little uncertain around the
Mhm.
economy was gonna
Right.
do. We We're trying to
Right.
be conservative, because you can always do it the next year.
Sure.
So this is maybe
Okay.
a little more than what we would normally do because it's a multiple year
Okay. That's all.
situation.
Okay, hey, that's all the questions. Any questions? from you
So
guys?
just with all this, the budgets and everything, okay, are we still good to where, oh no, we went over budget on one item, we still have enough funding, like, savings account to make, worst case scenario, something came up to where, okay, instead of spending $10 million, you have to spend $12 million or something happened.
Right,
So again, worst case scenario, we still have budget to make it
Right.
work.
Valid question.
Yeah.
So generally, by budget policy, we have to keep 10%, but we keep, have to keep 13 or 14.
Yeah,
We have about 30,
yeah, okay, perfect.
so we're
That's
good.
Yeah, that's why I just, again, worst case
Right.
scenario.
That's, we
Making sure.
don't, we don't call that the reserve though.
Yeah.
That's
We call
separate.
it cash balance.
Yeah, cash balance, yeah.
Is what it is.
Right.
We
Thanks.
keep 10 to 4, right?
Right,
So-
we're ultra conservative. We keep
Right.
extra above what, but at some point you need to, the capital fund, for example, it does not have a revenue source. This
Right.
is its revenue
Yeah.
source.
Yeah.
Right.
So rather than budget an extra 10 million and we have to find 10 million during a budget process, take the unspent balance basically of the previous budget and move it, and that is how
Yeah.
our capital fund is.
Well, that's how we've
Funded.
been able to pay for all of our infrastructure.
Yeah.
We haven't had
Right,
to
and
go to-
that's
we
why
haven't
we
had
don't
to
go out to bond
right,
and
we haven't had to
everything.
go bond or anything.
Which saves a ton of money because we're not paying interest on
Yep.
it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's a good, yeah, so thanks for doing that, Linda.
Mhm.
So just real quick, Linda, I know that we have these robust conversations and stuff, and I know I stopped by a couple weeks ago when we were talking all about this and kind of getting forecasts, and so I totally understand it. Once in a while I'll tease you about it, but we're good. So I appreciate all the hard work. We're working, leveraging taxpayers' dollars in the best possible way, and I think that is super important, especially these days. And I know that we are above the curve when it comes to the 39 counties in Washington State. We have worked hard to do this. And so I'm very proud to go ahead and make these motions as we go forward.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I mean, Linda, when I first got here, we didn't have a finance manager. The county didn't. Thank you. You've done a bang up job since.
Was that 50 years ago?
No.
Do you want a motion on this first
That
one?
no, we have to have a public
Oh,
hearing.
yeah, that's right,
first.
that's right, yep, yep.
Anyone wish to talk about Commissioner McKay in the public hearing, feel free to. Okay, I'm gonna open up the public hearing on budget adjustment and supplements from the presentation. Anyone? I don't see anyone in Kennewick still. Anyone online raising their hand?
Give me one
You can
second.
see.
'Cause there's quite a bit of people online, but I'm not, give me one
No
second.
hands,
Scroll through the whole thing. Yeah, I don't see any
Anyone
hands.
here?
You
Anyone
guys
in
see-
Prosser?
Yeah.
Wish to give comments or anything on the public hearing on the budget adjustments? Going once? Going twice? I'll close the public hearing. And can we get six motions?
I'll do the first one real quick. I move to approve the request for a budget adjustment special supplement for the 2025-2026 general fund, Fund 0010, in the amount of $10 million.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for,
Perfect.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Next one,
I got,
Thing.
yeah, I got it.
Oh,
I move
okay.
to approve the budget adjustment supplement for the 2025-2026 Sustainable Development Fund, Fund 1350, in the amount of $1,080,000.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the Fund 1350. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes. Next, Trial Court Improvement Fund.
I move to approve the budget adjustment supplement for 2025-2026 Trial Court Improvement Fund, Fund 1560, in the amount of $373,122.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes. Central Service Fund budget.
I move to approve the budget adjustment supplement to the 2025-2026 Central Service Fund, Fund 5020, in the amount of $561,634.
I'll second.
A motion and a second for the Central Service Fund budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Next, Behavioral Health Fund.
I move to approve the budget adjustment supplement for the 2025-2026 Behavioral Health Fund, Fund 1600, in the amount of $29,110,000.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for the Health Budget Fund. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Last one, Crime Victim Comp Fund.
I move to approve the budget adjustment supplement to the 2025-2026 Crime Victim Comp Fund, Fund 1200, in the amount of $175,649.
Second.
Motion and a second for the Crime Victim Comp Fund. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Okay, that's a public hearing. Next, we have the scheduled business. And Linda's up here for 2026 collection of taxes.
Right, so, little information, this is a discussion and a request for a public hearing on 2026 tax collection. So we passed the biennial budget last year, and on the mid-year cycle, which is this year, we have a public hearing to certify the general fund and road levy taxes for 2026 collection, certified budgeted taxes for 2026 collection, and then we re-adopt the final 25-26 budget, which will include the supplements you just passed. The public hearing is scheduled for November 18th, and we typically get direction from the Board of Commissioners and post some draft resolutions to be discussed, approved, or revised during the public hearing. So at this time, we're asking for direction from the board if they're looking to take the 1% increase or to bank the 1%, so we can get those drafts out there. Taking the 1% increase for the general fund would bring an estimated $285,000 a year or $570,000 a budget cycle. Taking the 1% increase for the road fund would bring an estimated $78,000 or $156,000 for our budget cycle. And we did not budget the 1% increase into our current 25-26 budget.
So the commissioners recall, for the last couple of years, we've done a presentation as part of the public hearing to show more information on the effects of the 1%, how the taxes come in and where they come in from. So we'll have that ready for the November 18th, as long as the board wants to see that again. If you don't want to see it, that would let me know, but it's something we plan to do.
So,
Please,
so
report on that.
today we're looking for direction to give us direction to proceed to public hearing and the direction on which direction you want to go.
Go ahead.
So, thank you. So real quick, Matt, yes, I do. I'm so used to doing that with Brandon over there at the city of Richmond. I was over there when we were looking at doing the same thing. I know we're going to have about the same type of format. I think that's good for the public to see how that affects the county, how it affects the taxes, the whole 9 yards. So yes, I'm 100% in that because education is better. It actually sees how we're using those dollars on that. So if you would do that, I appreciate that. I know we talked about that yesterday as well. Linda, I know that we've talked several times on this in the county levy tax. So I'll give you my perspective on it. And I told you, and you already know where I'm going with this. I would rather bank it. I don't think right now we're still setting okay. We'll see how the economy does. But if we bank it, that's good to go. And we don't have to spread that extra cost to the taxpayers of Benton County at this time, as long as we're using and doing the right thing. And we're pretty good about doing that and pretty conservative. So I think that's my direction, is just banking it.
Commissioner McKay.
So when you're saying banking it, not raising the tax, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree too, to where, that's why I brought up the budget. When you were, the last presentation, we all made those motions on to where, yeah, we can show that we still have enough savings to where we can fix the roads, we can take care of things to where, yeah, I agree, I don't want to raise taxes. If we can make it work, it makes it work.
Yeah.
But again, really the only tax I agree with, the public safety sales tax, again, for how safe, if we didn't have that, we'd be a lot worse off even with the caseloads for the lawyers as of trying to get more money with more lawyers now too. So, yeah, I'm all for it to not do the tax.
Yeah,
raise it.
and just this, I know, I think it was Thurston County and Walla Wallace. It's all a bunch of different counties doing this. And once again, I want to just say that we have spent hours, Jim, hours overtime, 60+ hours and a lot of heartache. Linda has worked her tail off on this, and it was, I think it was last year you said this was one of the most difficult budgets you have done over your career here in Benton County. And so what we've done is we've actually leveraged that money very well. We've actually was able to go ahead and do a wage and comp to bring comp up for our employees and give them raises to make that more competitive. So we weren't losing just being a training ground. That helped everybody within the county. And it saved us money in the long run. That's what the consultant said, about $20,000 a pop, depending on some of these positions. That we did that on amongst balancing a budget without laying off, because you're required to go ahead and do a balanced budget. And if you're in a deficit, what do? You either reduce services or you lay off, or a lot of different things you can do, but you got to balance. We did it without doing any of those things. So I'm very proud of my two peers that are sitting to the left and right of me. I'm very proud of our finance. I'm very proud of our HR that worked hard on that compensation. I'm very proud of the staff and all the clerks that have worked and stayed with us. So I know I'm kind of giving that pep rally thing, but the impact on this county compared to a lot of other counties I talked to and other commissioners and stuff, we have been pretty strong. And so that's why I'm very adamant about potentially just banking this, if my two peers are for that. And we don't have to raise that at this time.
I got one last
Go
30-second
ahead.
comment.
Go ahead.
When I brought up the public safety sales tax too, to where that got voted in through Benton County, all the residents, right? So
Right.
I don't know, 80,
Over 70-some%.
yeah, 70, 80, 90% of the people agreed with it, to where if we didn't have that tax, then we'd be like, sorry guys, sorry residents, we do need to raise taxes to where, so I'm glad we have that tax, because that tax is helping us out safety wise, lawyer wise, and everything, to where also budgeting and stuff. So yeah, I'm good with us doing a public hearing the week before Thanksgiving. And again, I'm all for not raising the taxes.
And the reason for that public safety sales tax, just to bank on that real quick, was if it had not passed in the way OPD, Office of Public Defense, is going with the reduction of caseloads, that not passed, we would have been in a major potential hurt lock, because we would have had to lay off, because we're going to have to make the additional funding for additional attorneys in the public defense arena. So we've made some smart decisions here at the county.
And I agree with both of you on the 1/10 of, what is it, 1%.
1%.
Yeah.
Less than 300,000.
Yep.
Our budget doesn't really do much of anything.
It does accumulate over the
Yeah,
time,
but-
but yeah, at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
we probably don't necessarily, we don't need it.
no.
I know you gave me a
We,
hard
we
time a
we
little bit
run,
about
we
it.
run.
I was like, no.
We run a lean machine like the Army says. I don't know
What?
I don't know.
Always
That was
have
that was a
I
lean,
don't- I
lean,
don't-
mean fighting machines. I thought that was the Marines.
No,
Come on, come
I
on.
don't know what the Marines.
You always have the option of taking the
Right.
banked
Right.
capacity at a
Yep.
future date.
Yeah, future
Yep.
date, right. But that does run out over time, right?
It dwindles
Diminish.
as
Dwindles,
as new construction values and other things come up and our
Right.
highest lawful levy, our actual levy continues to
Right.
get closer to the highest lawful, the bank capacity does go down.
Right, it's a
Right.
formula. It's
And now,
just
now
not
we
a
don't
straight-
take the 1%, and we bank it, but that allows other junior taxing districts to.
It leaves some capacity in the
space that they-
maximum property tax there. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't, yeah. Okay. Does that, then we'll have a public hearing, but we don't.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so, these are just preliminary resolutions.
Temperature
on-
check.
Right,
Right.
I'll post them on the website and then in the public hearing, you'll
Yeah.
actually make your decision
No,
or tell me to revise
that'll
them
be
or whatever.
1 week after my knee surgery, so I'm still may be on narcotics, but we'll.
Right,
hope-
But you promised me you'd be, or call in.
Okay, anything else?
Nope, thank you,
Okay.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay, next, Greg, memorandum MOU, in the Conservation District. 'Cause we get
Alright.
those funds, right, from the state.
Yeah, good morning. I'm bringing forward a memorandum of understanding this morning with the Benton Conservation District to oversee the county's offsite mitigation funds for projects that are not able to impact their fish and wildlife and shrub step impacts on site. So it's typical when a project can't do that and they can't mitigate on site, that the state does require that offsite mitigation be provided. And in these instances, under the MOU, the developer would pay directly to the conservation district rather than the county, based upon the required ratios as established by Fish and Wildlife and the permit acre mitigation values as established in the MOU, which is $3,500 an acre. The Benton CD currently oversees the program for Kennewick and Richland, as well as PNNL for their development activities. And so, and the Benton CD's been a good partner for the county over the years. They help us with our voluntary stewardship program and different programs. So we are requesting the board enter the MOU today with the Benton CD to help us with our mitigation requirements and help us to keep development moving here in the county.
Yeah, I like it, because, and one thing too, is there's no fiscal impact on agreeing with this, so I agree.
Yep.
Agree.
Okay. Motion, please, then?
I got it. You got it?
You got, go ahead.
Okay. The board, so I move the Board of County Commissioners approve the attached memorandum of understanding with the Benton Conservation District to oversee the offsite mitigation funds for projects in the county that may permanently impact fish and wildlife habitat conservation areas.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Motion passed. Thanks. Oh, Kyle, you're here. Contract, DD community contract.
Yeah, and so I came today to just talk about the developmental disability contracts that I have. There's 12 contracts. I didn't want to put them all on scheduled business. And so I wanted to come this week, talk a little bit about them, and then ask for permission to put them on consent at a later date. And so these are contracts, like I said, we have 12 providers that provide the services. We get contracted dollars through DSHS, the Developmental Disability Administration. So just under $3.5 million a year. And then we contract those out to the providers to do the services. And so they do supported employment, community inclusion, early 0 to 3, and child development. Yeah. And so again, I wanted to answer any questions that you might have, and then hopefully put them on consent.
These are all annual contracts?
They are.
Not binding, okay, annual contracts. And they start for so they're for the 2026.
I'm sorry, say again?
Are they for the 2026 year?
They're for this state FY,
The
FY, yeah,
state FY, which
Yeah.
started out
July 1, yeah.
We're just now getting.
Yeah, it shows on there, it says July 1st through
Through
June
June
30th, 2026.
Yeah, and so we had a little bit of a delay. Of course, the state's always late in getting the contracts to us. And then I think there are some things, obviously, that I need to show up in my office about
Okay.
making sure these get brought before the board sooner.
Yeah, I'm good with that. We do these annually.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You good? So, yeah, I strongly, recommend this. So I'll make a motion to authorize the Human Services Department to add 12 Development Disability Administration contracts before the Board of Commissioners under the consent agenda for consideration.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those nay, the ayes have it. Motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thanks for getting those done too for some of those people. Next, human service agreement with Franklin County. This sounds like fun.
Well, it definitely has been. But, no, so, as the board's aware, we've had a lot of discussion around the Human Services Agreement, which administers some of the grants that Kyle was just talking about. And so, obviously, the board's aware Franklin County decided not to renew the longstanding agreement back in September. We then discussed with them a little bit about a transition plan and offered a short-term agreement, same basic terms, that would extend it till the end of June of 2026. That coincides with the end of a lot of these state grants. Also gives the two counties some time to work on a transition plan so that Franklin County could take over those services and Benton County could separate and just begin providing services just for our residents. We had some negotiation with their county administrator. There were a couple of key terms that he would like to have seen changed. We discussed those not last week, the week before, on October 15th. Namely, they had to do with the shared liability being capped at a 70-30 split. The direct cost fee, it was not an administrative fee, but rather than just charge 30% of the housing grant that we get as a direct cost, we were going to bill direct hours to that, and it will not exceed 30%. We're comfortable that they're going to come out to be about the same number, but we'll bill direct hours. That put them at ease with that it wasn't an administrative fee, and we still get compensated for our time. And then the biggest change is that this agreement does end June 30th of 2026. Originally, we had proposed a multi-year agreement. But since we're transitioning away from shared services, this is about 8 months is all we're going to have on this. So the Franklin County Board of Commissioners approved it last week. And so we're hopeful that you gentlemen will approve it this week so that we can make sure we do a good transition for the people that these programs serve. We don't want to just end services for these people. We want to make sure that they have enough time to get adjusted to where they're going to need to go, and that we work with the state to make sure that some of these, the state may have to find other providers or do other things to make sure that those services continue in our community. So happy to answer any questions.
Well, and then Franklin County found out that if they don't provide them, then they got to give the money to them.
I believe there was a letter sent to them from the Department of Commerce, has to do with if they don't administer one of the housing programs, that there's a fee that is collected on every document that's
Right.
recorded. They have to remit that to the state per the RCW.
I do have a couple comments. I'm going to make it more just straight, make it a little more less wordy than you did, Matt, because I know you're being politically correct. The bottom line is we looked at two things. One is it impacts a lot of people, and we didn't want these services to be interrupted from Human Services, and what Kyle's been doing is worked his tail off to, once again, to provide these services to both counties. And so I think the key thing, the number one thing was we did it because we didn't want to interrupt services, because they're the ones who did not want to do the original contract. So that's number one. Number two, I felt on the business side, and I think my two peers would say the same thing, we're looking at this as doing a business. It gave Franklin County some time, some extra time that maybe they had not thought And we did it so that they could have more time to do the transition, learn how to go ahead and put that program together because like I said, Kyle, it's a lot of different moving parts and it gives them time to transition. At the same time, it doesn't cut needed services off to a key groups of people within the community, both counties. So I think that's good. And because the contracts, a lot of those grant contracts were going to end up in mid of next year, I thought that was probably a good time to go ahead and make this cut right there. And so I'm good with it. And that leads me to the other question, because I know there's a lot of MOUs and a lot of outdated MOUs that we need to look at. I think last meeting you talked about that you had gathered a lot of that information together. And there might have been one or two that you were still waiting on to get some information. I know that Commissioner Delmo is looking at the judicial system. We had some conversations about that part. I know we can't do anything about that yet. But all the other MOUs, where are you at and when can we start looking at seeing where those are and updating them or are those type items?
So I've gone through and with the help of Amanda and Nicole, found all the MOUs that we believe currently exist with Franklin County. And so I've looked at every one of them and have an evaluation of what they do and what it costs us and the recommendation on a path forward with those. So I'm ready to present that to the board whenever you're ready to see.
I think that's important. Like I said, whether we continue on or continue on with them or not, we need to make sure those are updated, or are they just outdated and or they're just not needed anymore. And I know that County Administrator McPherson had an email yesterday in reference to an MOU as well. So we should be discussing that as well. So that's all I have to say, and I'm ready to make a motion. Commissioner McKay, you have anything?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. I move to approve the memorandum of agreement between Benton and Franklin counties regarding provision of services by the Benton Franklin Human Services Department.
Second.
Motion in the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion passes. I would start putting those on the agenda.
I was going to ask, I know Commissioner Dolman, you have knee surgery coming up.
But but we're not meeting that day because it's Veterans Day.
But we can, I think we have a meeting between now and then. I'm
Right.
prepared to do this next week if you would like to have that presentation next week.
Might as well get into it.
Yep. I'll have that on the agenda. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you. Other business, Commissioner McKay, anything?
So taxes, I'll just bring up one thing since I'm on the board on Benton Franklin Transit, the chairman of the board. I talked to staff about their budget to where, hey, I see that we got plenty of money savings for our capital projects and everything to where, hey, can we do because I know there's a bus tax. I don't know exactly the exact percentage.
It's a sales tax.
Yeah, part of the
Right.
sales tax,
Right.
but they still get money from that tax, but also the state matches what they receive. But I'm looking at it and they're going to look into it too, to where, okay, hey, can we cut the tax half of what it is or a quarter to make that work? So I appreciate how we got presented by Linda, and again, letting you know that's my goal too on the transit, to where, hey, can we still make the bus work appropriately, but can we drop the tax half of what it is or a quarter? And so the staff's looking into it, but it might take 2 or 3 months or whatever till we get it figured out.
And seeing if they can still function without getting
Correct.
extra, I don't know how
Yeah.
much money they have in their reserves or, okay, that makes sense.
Anything, Commissioner Alvarez?
No, I said, Jim, if you want to hang around for a few minutes, I'll be glad to answer some of your questions. I have no problem with that. And I know we've talked several times before. So if you want to do that, okay, perfect. I'm good.
I was asked to bring up in December, our meeting schedule for the 23rd. That's the couple days before Christmas. I don't know, you guys got travel plans? Do we still want to continue that meeting or cancel that since we're not going to have a quorum? Commissioner McKay, usually family does something.
Yeah, I'll be out of town I'm pretty much,
That 23rd?
yeah, we usually leave,
Okay,
so I might be gone that
okay.
and also the 30th all the way through the 1st.
I say we cancel the 23rd. Are you around? the
I
30th?
think I'm here on the 23rd.
Let's do the
right?
30th then, the last meeting, just.
Yeah.
And I might be able to try to
Call
zoom
it.
in
Yeah,
if I
okay.
can.
Let's cancel
Yeah.
the 23rd, the week of Christmas, and then shoot for the 30th. Got that one?
Okay.
That's, I think no, I think that's it for what I have. Yeah, I can't. Anything from staff,
No.
or business? Mr. Spencer? Well, there- We're just like voting, yeah. Brenda? Oh, I saw, yesterday I checked, you only had like 6,000 out of 136,000. Wow. I just helped someone fill out their, well, I didn't fill it out for them. They asked for, I don't know him. They asked for some advice on voting. Let me put it that way.
Remember, I have to work with both of them, see what I put up with.
Sheriff? No, okay, let's, how many minutes on executive session?
Oh,
10 minutes, what, yep, something came up?
Nope, nope.
Nope. Okay, we're gonna go in executive session for union contract negotiations with our HR director. It is now 9:42. Good of the order? No? Okay, meeting adjourned. Everyone have a good afternoon or the rest of the day.